Hi, I'm Angie Rascone, and I wrote a short story based on constructivism. Constructivism is a theory that John Dewey created in 1933 based on the foundations of Piaget and Bykowski. So here it is. Who am I to become? I've been asked to think of the kind of teacher I'd like to become. Prior knowledge helps me to ask, what will the first day of school be like? Will I get to explore the ocean with the kids? My students might ask problem-solving questions to help figure out what's going to happen and calm their nervousness. Will the teacher read to me like my big brother? How will I know what my teacher wants? How will my teacher talk to me? What will the routine for our class look like? Will my teacher sound like a bear teaching bear to those who speak penguin? Will I understand? Will they wear glasses? Who will get the pencils out and where will the paper come from? Maybe my teacher will collaborate with us. Then we could create a snowman together. Maybe my teacher will communicate with us by playing the guitar and singing our lesson in English. When I was a student, I dreamt of that. I don't know how my first day will go really. Prior knowledge reminds me that I will be the teacher providing a meaningful context with exciting adventures for all the students. It was meaningful to me when I watched my dad teach my baby brother. He was happy and it was fun. I want my class to be fun. Critical thinking about being a teacher helps me to understand that I want our class to have collaborative hands-on adventures as we communicate and problem solve together in a meaningful context. It also helps me know that I will be a fun teacher. So when the teacher is asking the student what kind of a teacher they're wanting to become, they're asking probing questions to draw out the critical thinking in the minds of the students. They objectively analyze and evaluate, then form a judgment about good teaching. This is one of the bases of constructivism. Those probing questions intrigue the learner to think about how this question can apply to them. And as they're applying it to themselves, that's where they're getting, it's not necessarily a hands-on experience, but it's kind of a minds-on experience. And that is foundational in constructivism. So when the student who is wanting to become a teacher is being asked to think about the kind of teacher that they'd like to become, the learner's understanding is improved by drawing on the prior knowledge experience. What kind of teachers have been in this student's life in the past, and um, were they fun? Were they exploring? Were they hands-on teachers? Those kinds of things are going to help the student in that life application to be able to um, solve the question of what kind of teacher they want to become. And that problem solving um, is put on the teacher as well as the student. So it is a collaborative event. In the student's perspective, so right now the teacher is looking at what the students might be thinking about. What fears and nervousness might they have on the first day of school when this new student is now going to become the teacher. So that problem solving can help calm the student on the first day of school. They're going to find solutions that settle them down as they remind themselves of their prior experience. So what has it been like for them in the past to come to school, and how can they apply that to their life and their situation right now? What will my teacher be like? When students and the teacher collaborate to think of what good students are like, to think of things to make, that hands-on experience, to think of how can they make a snowman together if they're collaborating in the snow, and what will they need? The teacher's responsibility is to present the question and to organize the materials, and the student's responsibility, or the learner's responsibility, is to think using prior knowledge about those tools and skills and bring it all together with peers jointly and construct something. And in that constructing, in that hands-on experience, they're forming constructivism, they're forming new thoughts, new ideas, and they are learning at a much higher level and higher rate than other methods of teaching, says Dewey. So communication between the teacher and the students is a two-way street. In the constructivism theory, probing questions are asked to ignite the fire, and responses influence the whole class. So we cannot predict the future, but we can draw on our past experiences and know that what we are building with others is better than what we could build alone. And that's from Vygotsky, from his zone of proximal development. And that's the chart that we drew in class, where a student might start here, and then with peers' help, they would end up over here. And then when the peers leave, they're going to come back a little bit, and that would be the regression, natural regression that they would have without their peers. But this space in between the peer alone and the peer with other peers is called the zone of proximal development, and that's basically all the knowledge that is being gained and being developed with others. And that is a huge part of the constructivism theory also, about how our social relationships support the building of knowledge and ideas and thoughts in the constructivism theory. So prior knowledge gives us confidence to move forward, and that's Piaget's psychosocial developmental theory. And as we draw from a past meaningful context into a new meaningful context. So that really follows Piaget in his foundation to master each one of the different developmental stages, the 4 developmental stages that he spoke about. And as we master each one of those stages, we can bring all that we've learned from one stage, say sensory motor, we can bring all of that into the next stage, which would be pre-operational. And so as we bring all of our past experiences, which Piaget would say we had developed schemas, we bring those schemas in to our constructivism theory and to our meaningful context, which would be right here. We're talking about a meaningful context would be a schema that had been developed when the brother or the student who's becoming a teacher, that student was watching his or her own father playing with the baby brother. And so that brought a lot of joy to the student who was becoming a teacher. And that's one of those schemas that was developed, and it was positive. And it sounds like most likely they mastered the psychosocial developmental stage of sensory motor and pre-operational and therefore. So when we think critically about what type of teacher we will become, we can draw on all these theories from Piaget, Vygotsky, and Dewey. We have learned that we need to help children master things before they move forward, and encourage social relationships so they can become more than they are alone, and provide explorative questions with hands-on experience as we tackle the world together. So that's kind of my summary, trying to bring all the different theories in, bring them together and present them to you. This theory has been really encouraging to me. I really love hands-on experiences with the kids, and I can't think of teaching in any other way except life application, problem solving, collaborating with the peers. Truthfully, I love being a lazy teacher. I love being the one that sets the scenarios up, and I love being the one that provides all the materials and has the class collaborate and has them build and construct something. And I feel that that makes them independent learners, and that it is absolutely the best way that children can learn. I know there are different learning styles, and of course, You probably know mine, which is the kinesthetic learning style, the hands-on type of learning style. And I know later in our class we're going to get more into those different learning styles. Um, but I hope that you enjoyed the book and that you are ready to have some exciting adventures, and that you understand a little bit more about constructivism and the way that it helps and supports the building of knowledge and the growth of our ideas. And this is a life application constructivism theory, and it is also something that helps when you're doing the collaborating, when you're doing the talking. It helps children, let's say they're reading a text, they're reading something, it helps them to learn that thing. It also gets them more on the same page with the thoughts and ideas that they're having about whatever it is that they're reading. I just wanted to kind of throw that in at the end. And there you have it. That's it. Thank you.